Just before this video gets started, I just want to note that needless to say, it's going to contain major spoilers for the ending of Deltarune Chapter 2. And also, you could technically consider a correct prediction a spoiler as well. So, just so you know. Anyway, enjoy the video. Okay, so while I was recording the last video about Deltarune predicting future Dark Worlds, I was recording footage of the actual game, which included footage of Deltarune Chapter 2, specifically that light world, and while fidgeting around with that the next day, I ended up coming up with a hypothesis that I'm going to present in this video. I'm just going to make a little bit of a prediction, some spin-off predictions, for what will be in Deltarune Chapter 3. Okay, so it's at the ending of it, okay, and we obviously at the ending of Chapter 2 we see Chris stab into the ground and create the new Dark World, and then we see the TV smiling. Now everyone has latched onto this, and everyone basically thinks that it's going to be a TV-themed Dark World, but I think this is completely off base for several reasons. First of all, everyone who's expecting a TV-themed Dark World is assuming Toriel will be in it, because we're assuming the whole house will be a Dark World, and Toriel's in the house, which I have no problem with. But very late in a few minutes before Chris creates a Dark World, we see Toriel calling Undyne, talking about how someone fucked up their tires, and so that implies that Undyne is going to end up falling into this Dark World by going in there. In addition, if we go into Sansa's shop, we unlock the right series of events, Asgore will end up coming in, and he basically mentions that he's planning to make plans of Toriel later, which that doesn't necessarily mean in Chapter 3 so directly, but it could mean ending up in Chapter 3's Dark World. Now, I'd like to bring up a couple other things, a couple other pieces of evidence. One, there's only one TV in the entire house in the first thing, in the entirety of Toriel and Chris's house. Why would that make a TV-themed Dark World? All the other Dark Worlds, the world created is appropriate for the room it's set in. There's a toy room, so it's a toy-themed Dark World in Chapter 1. There's a bunch of computers, and so we get an internet-themed Dark World in the computer room in the library, so there's a computer-themed Dark World in Chapter 2, specifically an internet-themed Dark World, okay? Although I honestly, while playing through it, although I want to interpret it as the internet, and though popular society and the fandom is interpreted as the internet, I do think it is honest, the cyber world is more just of a computer-themed Dark World than specifically the internet-themed. Of course, the internet is a big part of computers, so it's a big part of Chapter 2. But regardless of all of that, going back to Chapter 3, what's in Toriel's house? Well, in Toriel's house in the Light World in general, admittedly, there's a bunch of Undertale stuff, but Toriel's house in particular, seeing as there's a bunch of references to ruins and stuff that exist around Toriel and such, and thus in the original Undertale. In addition, we're having a bunch of Undertale characters that have already been set up to end up falling into this Dark World. So my prediction is that Chapter 3 is not going to be a TV-themed Dark World, but in fact an Undertale-themed Dark World, okay? Which brings me to the flowers in the bin. Now, originally, people were basically all the secret bosses in Deltarune are basically things that are forgotten about in their Dark World, okay? So initially people were hypothesizing that the bin flowers that Asgore gave to Toriel would become some flowy-based secret boss, but then later on people were like, wait a minute, if this is a TV-themed Dark World, then, well, all these forgotten things seem more tied to the theme of the Dark World than actual stuff in them that's forgotten about. But here's the thing, if it's an Undertale-themed Dark World, then at least in the universe, Flowey is a forgotten about part of the world, so a Flowey-themed secret boss in Undertale-themed Dark World would work perfectly. And it being a Darkner would even make sense considering Asriel, which again, remember, in Undertale is synonymous with Flowey, is away, and so wouldn't be Flowey coming in here. Okay, so I just realized, I thought I finished recording this video, but I just realized that I forgot something very important, which is good, because now I'm discussing it. And, the video is only 4 minutes long, which is very short for me. So, yeah, basically, the Spams and Sweepstakes, we are shown several bits of footage. One of two main bits of things that I want to point out. One is the jazz guys, and two is the whole green room. The green room seems very much like a TV studio type place, as well as the TV in the middle appears to be riffing off of the room that Chris is in at the start, the living room in Toriel's house. In addition, the whole jazzy thing, well, it's not directly connected to TVs. It is also the case that our visual anachronism for the TV show looks like is largely pulled from around the 30s, 40s, and 50s when jazz and that whole style fedora that we see them wearing were very much more a thing. And so it's like, yeah, that's okay. So that first appears to be implying a TV room. However, here's the thing, the fandom has managed to guess that it would be a TV room pretty much immediately, a TV-themed world, pretty much immediately. In addition, it's also the case that that happened while there was basically no evidence in favor of it. So I'm calling these two bits of information we got in the Spamton sweepstakes, a red herring. You know, Toby Fox is the kind of guy who would pull that kind of shit. In addition, it could be a red herring in several ways. Either it could just be images that aren't in the game. I think that's the least likely, just going off of vibes. Then the middle one is that, oh, these are things that are in the game, but they aren't like they're unrepresentative of what the chapter actually looks like, or they're in fact from another chapter. In the last Deltarune video, I referenced QC's Diner as a potential future Dark World, and again, diners also follow a very similar like old vintagey type aesthetic as what we imagine TV shows looking like anachronistically. So maybe that the green room's actually from chapter 4 or 5 or 6, with QC's Diner as the Dark World it's in. I don't know, but I think that's probably a red herring either way. So again, like, it benefits me, I made this video for you, you know, and it costs you nothing, and subscribe if you want to see more. Okay, so yeah, this last bit is not talking about any predictions for Chapter 3, it's more so Chapter 7 predictions, but a couple things people seem to have forgotten about that are mentioned in the Light World is, first of all, in Chapter 2, when you ask Sans about his brother, he says that he'll show up when Asriel shows up, and in Chapter 1, at the start, when driving into school, Toriel mentions that Asriel's showing up again at the end of the week, which could imply in Chapter 5 if that's Sunday, or could imply in Chapter 7 because that's the end of the next week, but it's not like Chapter 1 happens on Monday, Chapter 2's Friday, and Chapter 1's Thursday. Or would it be Chapter 4 then? If Chapter 3 is Saturday then, and Sunday's Chapter 4? I don't know, it gets complicated because Chapter 3's its main events are probably going to be happening at night, given the whole thing with the Dark World being created, the very start of it, but yeah. Also, at the end of Chapter 2, Susie mentions a fair that's happening soon. That could very well be happening in Chapter 7, and it would also mean that, oh my god, the roaring started, and now it's action scenes of people who were previously enjoying the fair running away. I predict that too. Anyway, that's actually, for the last time, everything I have to say, so please like and subscribe. I've already given you my damn reasons twice in this video. So yeah. Bye, folks. Enjoy your lives. Stay determined. I also want to note, just for the record, you can probably hear the garbage trucks in the background. If it wasn't for the fact that yesterday, when I would have got this out 24 hours earlier if it wasn't for the fact that yesterday, when I tried to move this from iMovie into my photos, my iPad was like, oh no, you've run out of space to save stuff, and you may be like, well, delete stuff. I did delete stuff. And it still said, sorry, not enough space to save anything, including one of the things I just deleted out of photos, even though that's exactly the thing I just deleted out of photos, meaning exactly that amount of space should have been freed up. But I haven't even cut this bullshit, but, yeah, I have EFDOs, going back and forth on adding in the outro like this one wasted a ton of time. Fucking hell. Yeah. As well as also adding visuals for the footage of the basically tutorial being like, oh yeah, Asriel will show up on the last day of the week. Too late for that at this point. I don't want to release the video tomorrow. It's already releasing on the day that the next one was supposed to release, but in the morning I can't let that move into the afternoon. The next one might also be for some technical reasons regarding some other stuff I was working on in the background delayed till tomorrow, because of some technical constraints regarding them. How I handle the visual assets, but maybe not, I don't know. You'll see tonight, I guess. Anyway, peace.